Get ready, Staten Island.
The Ferry Hawks are back at SIUH Community Park July 7th to the 12th for a 6-game series against the High Point Rockers. Tonight, first pitch is at 6:30. It's Thirsty Thursday with $5 Bud and Bud Light drafts. Friday, July 10th, first pitch is at 7 p.m. May the Force be with you on Star Wars Night with post-game kids glow around the bases with special lightsaber training packs.
Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Let's keep New York safe. And with us today is James Barnacle, and he is the Assistant Director in charge of the FBI in the New York office, the largest office in the country. And Director Barnacle, tell us a lot of things going on in New York, and I know you have a lot of concerns, and one of your concerns is fraud to consumer and fraud to the small businesses. And what do you want to tell the people of New York?
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me, and thank you to WABC. I think what we want to tell your viewers or listeners is that there are bad guys in the United States and overseas that are trying to take New Yorkers' hard-earned money out of their pockets. They're trying to rip them off with a variety of fraud schemes, and they're trying to take that money and they're going to use it to live lavish lifestyles. They're going to take the money here, and more, we see people from overseas targeting New Yorkers, and they're trying to take their money and take it out of the United States, often to a third world country. And so what I want to share today is some of the types of fraud schemes we're seeing Americans report to the FBI.
Well, and tell us, when they find out it's a scheme, they should call that number, 1-800-CALL-FBI?
That's right. And victims of fraud can report online at FBI.gov. They can go to our Internet Crime Complaint Center, which the address is ic3.gov.gov, or they can call 1-800-CALL-FBI, as you said.
Tell us the type of frauds our listeners, we may have 1 million listeners this morning, the type of fraud that they should be looking out for.
Yeah, the number one fraud. So we have the Internet Crime Complaint Center is a repository for complaints. So people that are victimized by fraud schemes file a complaint with ic3.gov. We aggregate all those complaints, and we put out an annual report every year in the spring. And so what we're looking there is what happened and what was reported to the FBI in 2025. The number one reported fraud scheme in 2025 was investment fraud. And we saw reported losses in the United States of $8.6 billion for investment fraud. So investment frauds can include mostly Ponzi schemes, and we see the hot pitch out there is cryptocurrency. So bad guys are trying to connect with people, and they often do it through the Internet. So people will browse an Internet site or social media site, and there'll be either a direct communication, so someone may friend you on a social media site, or you may see a pop-up when you're just searching the Internet, and it'll be for an investment opportunity. And like I said, a lot of those investment opportunities are in cryptocurrency. And you see on the news every day, and people are talking about cryptocurrency, and a lot of folks want a piece of the action. You know, they want to make some money on cryptocurrency. So the bad guys find whatever's trending, whatever's hot, and they use that as their sales pitch. And obviously they're very predatory, and so they'll push cryptocurrency. And a lot of people don't know much about cryptocurrency, and so they want to make some money. They hear about it, and the bad guys will exploit those vulnerabilities and they'll go after them for money. So that's the biggest one we're seeing. We also see a lot of tech and customer support schemes. And we've seen reported losses last year of $2.1 billion in that. And what we see there is the same thing. People browse the Internet. They see a pop-up. A lot of times it's tech support schemes. So people will see your computer is vulnerable. Call 1-800-BAD-GUY. And the victim often are our elderly folks. Will call that number, and they'll be told a variety of different things. But basically, the main pitch is their computer has been compromised, their bank accounts are compromised, and to protect their assets, the bad guy will ask them to do a variety of things. But it's usually either send your money to an address for safekeeping, and that would be a wire transfer. Sometimes victims are asked to withdraw their money in cash from a bank account, and someone will come to their house to pick up the cash. Or third, the victim is asked to withdraw cash from their bank account and to buy gold bars, and someone will come and pick that money up. In all those pitches, the victims are being told that their money will be safer out of their accounts that were compromised. And the bad guy, often it's an impersonation scheme, so the bad guy will say they work for the government, they work for the IRS, or they work for the FBI, or some other agency at the government, and they'll try to take their money and hold in safekeeping, but really it's just a pitch, and they steal the money. So we see people in nursing homes and assisted living get targeted. We see people at their houses get targeted. We see it all walks of life. Every single age group is targeted in the United States, and every single age group in the United States is reporting losses to these various schemes.
So the consumer, our listeners, the consumers, our small business people are very vulnerable. So if the deal looks too good, you should be extra careful.
That's right, John. We would ask people to take a beat, take a moment to think about what is being offered. If it's such a great opportunity, that opportunity will be there in a week or 2 weeks. What the bad guy is always trying to give a sense of urgency that this deal is going to close right now. You have to give your money now. The tech support schemes, the same thing. If you don't protect your money now, if you don't take these steps, you're going to lose all your money. And that urgency gets people, we get amped up, and we want to make sure we're doing the right thing, and we don't have time to think about things. And sometimes we just ask folks, take a minute, step away from the situation, and does this sound too good to be true? And I can tell you, no law enforcement agent, no member of the IRS, nobody is coming to your house to pick up your money or your gold bars or your valuables to keep them safely. We do not do that.
Understood.
We will not ask you to transfer money. You will never be asked to transfer money by the federal government. And so the one other thing that small businesses are getting hit hard with is business email compromise. And basically a business is getting a bill, usually through an email, and they're being asked to pay the bill. And oftentimes the bad guys are using a legitimate vendor, and they're sending a new bill with the bad guy's bank account number, and they're asking the business to wire transfer money to that account. And we see a ton of losses in that space as well. And I think last year it's about $3 billion in reported losses to business email compromise.
That is big. Now, let me ask you, that's big, but even bigger is some of the frauds perpetrated against our own government, and there could be tens of billions, and are you in charge of that too?
Yes, sir. And so you're absolutely right. So frauds against the government, our benefits and program frauds are ridiculous. The American taxpayer and the good graces of the American government and the American people, we've created programs to take care of of Americans, and foreign adversaries and people in the country are targeting those programs. So, for instance, our national health care expenditures for 2024 were $5.3 trillion.
Wow.
And they're a huge number, an unimaginable number. But if you just estimate 5 or 10% of that money is taken for fraud, that's an astronomical number too. And so we have squads here. We have task forces for securities fraud and bank fraud and money laundering and healthcare fraud. And we work with our partners at other law enforcement agencies to target these program frauds and frauds against individuals and businesses. And we've had some good results, but we really need people to continue reporting these frauds. Just a couple weeks ago, the Department of Justice announced the results of our largest healthcare fraud takedown in U.S. history. In 45 states, the federal government arrested 455 defendants, of which 90 of those were medical professionals. And the reported false claims that were filed were $6.5 billion.
Wow. Well, James Barnacle, Assistant Director in charge of the FBI in New York, and thank you for everything you're doing. The last question, a quick one, because we only got a minute left, is you're responsible for keeping New Yorkers safe, too. So give us the status of that.
Right now, we're running an initiative called Summer Heat. So we're out there working with state and local law enforcement agencies to take gangs, narcotics activity, gun and drug trafficking down. So we're looking to find bad guys that we can federalize the cases and work with the good people at the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York and the Eastern District of New York so we can get these repeat offenders, the felons, off the street, put them in jail where they belong to protect the New Yorkers.
Well, James Barnacle, Assistant Director in charge, FBI, thank you so much for coming on and keeping all New Yorkers, all Americans informed. And God bless you, God bless America, and thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, sir, and thank you to the viewers and listeners of WABC.